Raider Nation, it's official. Mark Davis just announced he has relieved Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler of their head coaching and GM duties. It's official. 10 minutes ago. I was literally in the middle of finalizing my notes of the end of free agency, and I get a notification on my phone that the announcement was released. And obviously, I had to jump on here ASAP. But it's official. Mark Davis, he listened to the voice of the locker room. He listened to the nation. He listened to the fans. And I think he reached deep down inside and knew what the right decision was. And he cut the cord. He finally cut the cord and he let Josh McDaniels go. Thank God. Let's just put it that way. You know, it's tough because, the nation, the Raider fan base, we've been struggling for a long time now. And when you relieve a head coach of his responsibilities, of his position, you know that now you are you literally are in a rebuilding mode. You're in rebuild mode. Now you got to go on that search for a head coach. So, and I'll be dropping a video probably by tomorrow, maybe day after, but most likely tomorrow about some head coaching candidates. But I also want to talk about who they just announced as our interim head coach. But as an organization, when you relieve your head coach of his position, you know that you're in rebuild mode, and that's what in most cases that's what happens. Now, I think the Raiders are in a unique situation, and they have been for the last couple of years. We had the whole situation that happened, back in 2021 with John Gruden, where he was relieved, or he basically was forced to resign, and because of the email allegations. And Rich Bisaccia came in and was the interim head coach and took us to the playoffs. And there was controversy whether or not he should have been able to, continue on as the Raiders head coach, give him at least a year. But obviously that didn't happen. We brought in Josh McDaniels, and the thing was is Josh McDaniels inherited a playoff team. We went to the playoffs the year before. So it was a unique situation. Usually when a head coach is introduced to a new team, it's because you have played extremely poorly. And Josh's situation was different. And so that's why I think, in my opinion, Josh really had a short leash. He came in a very unique position to where he had a decent core to work off of. And what did he do this past offseason? He basically dismantled the entire core. Whether you agree with some of the moves or not, he dismantled it. That's what he did. He brought in his guys. And what that's led to is a 3-5 start to the season, a lot of questionable calls, a lot of disappointment. And what I think is a relief is that Mark Davis made the right decision. Again, you can never be excited about firing your head coach because, again, it ends up being a rebuild. That's what majority of the time it will become as a rebuild, in which a rebuild typically is a 2-3 year process minimum, and but I kind of want to give you my opinion on what this situation kind of looks like. And this is based off of my free agency video that I just dropped um, a couple days ago. Free agency was coming up. The deadline was basically today. And again, I was right in the middle of finishing up my notes on, free agency has come and gone. So I want to kind of drop you guys with a video as to my opinion as to why we didn't make any moves. But this is a unique situation because in that free agency video that I dropped a day or two ago, I stated that I don't know if I wanted the Raiders to make any moves in free agency because I think the core that we have right now in this team is strong. You look at the offensive weapons we have. All we really need is maybe maybe a little bit help on the O line. Okay. a little bit of help on the O line, but then we just need a quarterback. And then obviously we needed a head coach slash offensive coordinator that knew what the hell he was doing. But the core on offense is solid. And then we have a defense that's showing promise, a defense that's been carrying our team on its back the majority of the games. And so I think the core of this team is actually pretty strong. And that's why I think I'm excited. I think that's why I think, you know, again, you never want to be excited that your head coach gets fired because you know that it's a rebuild. But I think this is a unique situation. I think we have a great core. I think we have players that now will play with a purpose. I think the confidence was lost in Josh McDaniels. Last week there was a report that came out that they basically had this huge team meeting where the captains basically led the meeting, and they were able to basically have an open forum. No holds barred. Air out all your grievances. Talk about what you want. There's nothing to hold back off of, right? And so they had this meeting where the captains could voice whatever opinion they had. Didn't matter who it was directed to. Could be directed to Josh McDaniels, Dave Ziegler, assistant coaches, Mark Davis himself. It could have been directed to anybody. And you thought that maybe that could spark a little something, and we would come out Monday night and play kind of strong against the Detroit Lions. But man, we failed to do so. I mean, it sparked the defense. The defense played a hell of a game, with 3 turnovers. But really, it wasn't the spark I think everybody was thinking we potentially could have had. And I think by relieving McDaniels of his duties and putting that now in the past, it is officially in the past. Josh McDaniels is no longer the head coach, and that era is done and done. We can wipe our hands with it. Again, thank God. Thank God Mark Davis listened to the Raider fan base, listened to the locker room, listened to the core players and the captains that he has in that locker room, and he pulled the trigger and cut that cord. I'll commend him for that. And so I'm excited. I'm excited to see what this team now can do in this second half of the season. Because in the video that I just dropped, I think it was my instant reaction video to our loss to the Lions last night. One of the things that I said was, it's typically you see head coaches lose their position or get fired right before a bye week, because it allows the team really 2 full weeks to get acclimated to the new environment, get acclimated to the interim head coach, understand what his philosophies are, and just make that transition. And I thought, and again, I stated this in my previous video, I thought that why not do it now? Why not do it now when you are going into a Giants game at home? Our next game is against the Giants, winnable game at home. And then our following game is against the Jets, winnable game at home. That's back-to-back home games. You don't have to travel. You don't have to worry about that different schedule. You can stay home. You can pour all this time for the next 2 weeks into really acclimating to the new environment, to the new coach. We have really some time before that bye week hits, and to me, it would just be a waste of time if you let Josh McDaniels continue to be the head coach. You would really start to lose that locker room, and not that just Josh McDaniels would lose that locker room. Mark Davis would lose that locker room. Mark Davis would lose the confidence in the players to make the right decision as the owner of this franchise. And so, I commend him for making that decision. Now, the reports just came out that Antonio Pierce, our linebackers coach, is going to take over as head coach. And look, I don't know much of Antonio Pierce as a coach, except for the fact that I think a lot of the players do have respect for him. 2 of the coaches that I thought might be in the running to be the interim if Josh McDaniels was fired was Carmen Brasillo, which is our offensive line coach. He comes from New England. He just has a good rapport across the league as a really good offensive line coach. And then I thought there was a chance that we could have given Patrick Graham a shot, because look at what he's done with the defense. He's rallied this defense. The defense plays for him, and so one of the biggest attributes, or one of the biggest characteristics of a head coach, is that you can lead this locker room. You can lead a group of men that are some of the best athletes to ever step foot on this earth, um, and have the personality to be able to lead them to the overall goal. And Patrick Graham has shown that he could rally this defense. Where a lot of people were questioning him all last year about how good is he really, and I think a lot of people failed to realize that, guess what? He hasn't been given a whole lot to work with when it comes to pouring free agent money into the defense. We've basically taken some of our draft picks, and Tyree Wilson, he was hurt. He was hurt to start the season. When we drafted him, we knew he was hurt. So he wasn't going to be 100% until maybe at best midway through this season. So as much as we poured a first round draft pick into Tyree, he wasn't going to be ready. So I think Patrick Graham has done a pretty fantastic job with this defense based on the cards that he's been dealt. So I thought he might have been given a shot. But I'm going to do a little more research on Antonio Pierce as he is as a coach. But the one thing that I can say, just kind of off the top of my head, is that if you look at Antonio Pierce as the player, right, he was a long-time linebacker, and he definitely was a part of those linebackers that were just hard-nosed, I'm coming to eat your lunch type of linebackers. I mean, he played hard. He had a motor that a lot of people couldn't keep up with, a lot of people envied. And so, I think what he's going to bring to this team is probably that mentality, which, I'll be honest, I'm going to love to see it. It kind of gives you that old school Raider football mentality. And I hope that's what he brings. So, guys, I just wanted to hit you with this video. Again, the news dropped maybe 15 minutes ago. I was in the middle of preparing another video, and obviously, drop everything. This is breaking news. So it is official. Halloween night, October 31st, Mark Davis announced that he has relieved Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler of their head coaching and GM duties. Guys, I appreciate you. I'm growing a lot with the subscribers and just the views and my presence on social media. I'm new to this, but I appreciate all you guys that have subscribed. So if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Hit that notification, like the video, and I appreciate you all. So again, it's a new time, Raider Nation. It's a new time. Let's get excited. Let's basically stay focused. Let's pay attention and see what the next moves